Welcome to Beyond Broken Hungry. Juggling your career, relationships, nutrition, fitness, finance, try to pursue your dreams, and stay sane can be a bit of a struggle. With the help of expertise from a variety of wellness experts and tips and tricks from everyday people, this podcast is here to share it all to make this journey we call life just a little more balanced. I'm stumbling towards wellness right alongside you, and I'm so happy to have you come along this journey. With that in mind, let's jump into this week's episode of Beyond Broken Hungry. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Beyond Broken Hungry. I'm your host, Dara Sweat. So the theme of this month, it's March, and growth is what I picked. And I feel like it's fitting because March is kind of that time of year where, if you live in Florida anyways, you're kind of getting out of that winter month and getting geared up for spring. So pollen is absolutely insane, but flowers are starting to bloom again. The grass is getting greener again. Things are just in this growth change. So I feel like it just kind of ties in together. So if you guys have read my blog from last week that I posted on Seasons of Growth, I'm kind of going to reiterate some of those things, but dive into a little bit deeper of what I said, because I feel like it's really important, not just for myself, but for anybody that's really going through a season of growth. All through our lives, we go through different seasons, right? And some are awesome, some are fun, some are really cool, and then some are less vibrant. They don't call it growing pains for no reason. Some of them are painful, and really hard to get through. And I feel like the past few months dealing with my injury, although, yes, I know it could be so much worse, and I'm so blessed that it was as minor as it was, but it still was really hard mentally to stay on track and keep things going and keep myself upbeat and show up for myself, on a regular basis. So just was one of those like growing pain seasons, but I'm glad to be sort of out of it. If you're following along on Instagram and Facebook, I posted that I was officially discharged from physical therapy, which sounds awesome, but there's still such a long way to go. I can get back into the groove of everything of like squatting and practicing lifts. And thankfully, just kind of perfect timing. Graham is doing a weightlifting seminar for the next couple of weeks. So I signed, even though I know how to do all the lifts, I wanted to sign up as a beginner and really kind of take it slow, because it's been months since I've done any lift, really. A lot of the things that I was modifying, I was doing from a hang position, or I was squatting to a box, so I wasn't really doing the full lift. So this will be a really good opportunity to reintroduce myself to those movements in a safe way, and relearning what all of those movements even mean. So I'm really excited for that. And I think it'll be cool to slowly but surely get back into the swing of things. I still won't be able to work on like running or jumping exercises. This is technically week 15. They told me week 20 is typically when people would start working on those exercises, but because this is the second surgery on my same knee, they're recommending I wait until week 24, 25, even into 30 before I start working on that. So yes, I have hit a milestone and I'm so excited and happy about it. Can really start to get back into the swing of things a little bit more officially than I have been, but still am held back a little bit. But I don't want to look at it like that. I'm going to look at it as a way to relearn some of the movements that I, thought that I was doing so well prior to getting injured and having the surgery. One thing that throughout this journey that has been one of the biggest lessons, I think, or changes in me, is how I tackle workouts. Before I feel like I was always really aggressive and angry into it, and just kind of wanted to be like, wow, which is, you want to sometimes, especially if you're having a bad day, but like to look at every single workout that way, and to it's important to put your all into it and to put emotion into it, of course, but to make it so emotional, I kind of just felt like I was being a little bit of the more obnoxious athlete than anything else. So going through physical therapy and this healing process, it's really forced me to slow down in more ways than one. But really re-entering myself into what kind of athlete do I want to be? So instead of being aggressive and angry and so emotional, at the bar, I had this opportunity now to breathe, focus on movements, not be such an emotional, passionate athlete, but to really take my time and really focus and really do every movement accurately and not just be like, I want to lift the heaviest weight. So I'm getting this chance at kind of restarting and being a different kind of athlete. And I'm not going to never say never. So I'm not going to say like, oh, I'll probably never lift really heavy again because I don't want to risk hurting myself. I don't know how that's going to go. I'm just going to do this right and take it day by day. And hopefully come out on top. And I think that that's not something that is far-fetched to think that, I could be even better than I was before all of this happened. So I'm really looking forward to what the next few weeks of rehabilitation are going to take. Even though I will not be officially in physical therapy anymore, I will still be working on some things. And I have Jenny from Altogether Wellness. She was the guest on the last episode. I will be working with her on some things to just continue my education on how to safely and accurately get my knee back to health. So really looking forward to all that, but we'll go ahead and get into the kind of nitty gritty of this solo episode. So as I said before, as we go through life, we end up finding ourselves in multiple seasons, right? Some are awesome, and then some are less than awesome. So, again, last few months going through this healing process of, injuring my lateral meniscus in a competition, or it could have been before that, but I think the competition is really what set it off. So that's kind of the timeline that I'm giving myself. I was in my head a lot. It wasn't very quiet up in this noggin, in that negative sense. That enemy within myself was really tearing at me and bringing me down in a lot of ways. And it was kind of starting to affect some of my relationships and friendships. Because my value of myself was deteriorating because of this like inner argument and battle that was going on. No matter what it looked like on the outside, it was really a huge mental struggle. The physical part of it was a minor surgery, so not the biggest deal. I didn't get injured as harshly as I could have been, or how some people are. So I'm blessed in that space, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't hard. It doesn't mean that I didn't have some trials and tribulations going through that. Everybody has their way of coping and healing, or not, and I definitely went through mine. So one of the biggest things that was really hard for me was to keep up with my morning and evening routines, because I feel that my morning routine obviously very much sets my day. And really puts me and my mind in the right space, to where I feel energetic. I feel like I have all of this fuel, and I wasn't really getting there. No matter how many times I would do my morning routine in the morning, I felt like I wasn't really getting there, and I started to just become robotic, like I was just doing it to do it, until one day it all clicked and it all kept, fell into place, and then things kind of started to snap. And I feel like that's so important, because we feel like when we do these things and we're not getting immediate response from it or immediate satisfaction from it, we quit, we give up because it's hard. And I really think that we need to stop looking at it that way, and we need to think about what the long-term goal is. Like, if I stop doing this now, what's going to happen in 6 months? What's going to happen in a year? What's going to happen in a month? Really continuing to show up for yourself, even when you may not feel like it, is so important, because if you don't show up for you, who's going to? It doesn't matter how many awesome people and wonderful people I have in my life. Like, if I don't get out of bed, that's not my mom's problem. That's not my friend's problem. That's not Doug's problem. It's my problem. I need to get out of bed. I need to work my life. They have their own life that they have to work. So if I'm not the one that's constantly showing up to bat, then no one's going to strike for me. No one's going to hit that ball for me. No one's going to get me going, and I have to do that. So even though I was like, there were some days where I was like, I just don't feel like this devotion's doing anything. I don't even know what I'm grateful for right now. I would still find something, and the power behind that is, no matter no matter what, I'm still doing it. So it's still putting those building blocks together. It's still building this amazing life that I'm trying to work for myself. Just because I don't feel anything doesn't mean that that building isn't happening. So that's like something that we really have to think about, is we can't just not do something because we don't feel that way, because there's still progress being made regardless of what we can physically touch or feel or see. We have to just keep showing up. I really feel like this whole process of healing with this surgery was kind of difficult. But now looking back at it, now that I'm like out of one phase, I'm like, oh, that was so easy. Like, why did I even think it was hard? But when I was going through it, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm trying to run against the wind or swimming against the current. I'm not going anywhere. This is so hard and blah, blah, blah. But now that I'm out of it, I'm like, oh, wow, what was I being such a little baby for? Like, that wasn't so bad. So, just keep showing up and keep telling yourself that it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. And maybe it takes a little longer than you expect, but like, that's life. Nothing is really ever going to go to a T the way that you plan it. You just have to do your best to show up and keep doing so. And things just kind of fall into place like eventually. And then because once they fall into place, you're in a place where you're so prepared for it because you're doing this and you're doing a routine and you're showing up that you're like, oh, wow, okay, cool. I'm ready to catch this. I'm ready for it now. Whereas if you stop and then things fall for you, like you're not gonna be able to pick it up. You're not gonna be able to hold it. It's gonna fall apart because you didn't prepare yourself for that opportunity to come. So even though like the enemy has gotten in my head a lot, my back squat last year was like 165 pounds. My deadlift was 210. My snatch was pushing 130. And now I'm like squatting to a box with no weight at all, or wasn't even squatting. So it was really hard to feel like, oh my God, I made all this progress, I'm an athlete, I'm super strong, blah blah blah, and then having to be like, meh, okay, but getting my knees ready for those movements with doing those little tiny squat to a box is helpful. And I feel like now I can squat to full depth. I can't add weight, but I can squat to full depth. And had I not been working on those smaller movements, then it would probably not be a very good squat, or I would be in a lot of pain. Or if I just waited around for 6 to 8 weeks and didn't do any therapy, I would not have any progress. Just because you wait 6 to 8 weeks before you start working on things again doesn't mean that your body's like, oh, okay, I'm like ready to get back into it. If you don't do anything to prepare yourself for your body to be ready, then you're just going to hurt yourself again. And that's just going to be a vicious cycle. So you have to, do those little mundane, annoying things in order for progress to be made. I want to share a few pieces of advice that I got through this process. And if you read the blog, I listed out a few different ones, but for today, I'm just going to touch on 3 because I feel like they're really important, and they're kind of like, not that anyone is more important than the other, but I just feel like these ones I really want to emphasize and dive into and share. One of them, like I've been saying like a broken record this past few minutes, keep showing up. It's easy to give up when life hits you with like this unexpected, unpleasant situation. You feel useless or hurt or whatever it may be. But you have to remind yourself every single day that your life is worth showing up for. You are worth showing up for no matter what. The more you force yourself to do it, the easier it becomes. And then one day you wake up and you feel like it was all worth it. Like I just said. Number 2, pray even harder. One of the worst things that you can do in this kind of season is to blame God or turn away from him, or try to feel like he's not there for you, or he's not with you, or he's not looking out for you. You have to trust that he has a plan, and you have to lean on him to give you that strength to keep going. I can't tell you how many days that I was just like, God, why did this happen? Like, why are we here? Why I was doing so good. I was making so much progress. There's so many things. Why did I have to do this? And throughout this season, I learned why. I was forced to slow down. I had to slow down, and that it's not something that I've been doing very well at the last couple of years. And it really made me think about what's important and what I want to do and what my goals are, and how I want to accomplish those goals. And, it was like, in a way, like God was probably trying to tell me this for a long time, but I wasn't listening. I kept just pushing and pushing and pushing until finally he was like, okay, enough. And during this time, I just leaned on him. I reached to him. I would pray even more. I was listening to more and more worship music and Christian podcasts, and just really diving into, just feel content and understanding, and to feel blessed, even though this season wasn't like my favorite one to go through. It wasn't a super hard one, but it was hard in its own way. And I feel like if I had not leaned on God, or if I had just turned away from him, it would have been even harder to deal with. So if you're going through something like some kind of hard season, of growing in a difficult way, lean on God, because he wants you to lean on him, and he wants you to have faith that he's got things under control. And you have to control what you can control. And then everything else just falls into place. And number 3, nourish and move your body. So I wasn't really able to move my body in the ways that I, of course, was used to during this season. But I was still allowed to walk. I was still allowed to do the things that I had to do for physical therapy. I could still, at a certain point, I was able to ride the bike. So if you're going through like an injury, do what you can do. Don't push harder than where you're cleared to go, but do what you can do, and do it. Because if you're not moving your body, then, it's just, you're just going to get stuck, and no one wants to get stuck. You have to keep moving. How are you going to have the strength to eventually do these workouts if you're going through an injury like I was? How are you going to get the strength to push through that if you're not nourishing your body the correct way? They say that you are what you eat, and if you eat crap, you're going to feel like crap. So you have to put good into your body so that you can feel good. And you don't have to, if you're not going through a season of an injury or something like that, but you're going through some kind of other season of growth, you don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. to do a HIIT workout or any kind of workout if that's not what works for your schedule. Going for a long walk in the sun, if you're, whenever I go through seasons of like being depressed, or just really down, or, kind of those, I call them gray seasons, even just going for a walk on the beach, or if you don't live by the beach, just walk in the sun, maybe go to a park, and just really be in that moment, and let the sun hit your skin. It really can make so much of a difference of just walking a couple miles. Nothing crazy, just walk. Doing yoga is really great. Just being able to stretch your body, when, it helps from preventing you to be sore when you are working out. So getting a good stretch in, even if there was some days, this past few months where I was going to my other gym membership that I have on the side, and I would just stretch for an hour. That was my workout, just stretch, because I wasn't feeling like I was getting enough of that in. So just really stretching, that was the workout, was just getting my body to loosen up and not feel so sore. So nourish and move your body. Keep showing up and pray even harder. Those are my big 3 tips of something that really helped me go through this growth season that I was going through these past couple months. And, I feel like that is what really carried me through. Obviously, staying hydrated and things like that, I emphasize a lot as well. But those 3 things, those 3 things are super important. And just to add on to that, keep your people close. Emphasizing good people. Make sure you have good people in your life, but keep them close. Don't turn away just because you're upset or you're sad. Keep them close, and go to the dinners, go to the game nights, go for the movie. Keep those good people in your life, because they will be the ones that will give you the strength to keep going when you feel like you don't have it yourself. So just adding that too. I want to close with this. It's a quote by Jane Goodall. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. So this quote was probably said for, some people that want to change the world, and maybe you want to change the world, but let's talk about your season of growth that you may or may not be in right now. What you do in that season will make a difference. So if you don't do anything, what progress are you going to make? Who's going to show up? If you do something, then things are just going to get better. And it might seem hard. It might seem like, oh, I'm doing this and nothing's happening. But you can't always look at doing something and getting a result right away for it. Good things take time, and you're a good thing, and it takes time for change to happen, for good change to happen in your life, and for positivity to happen in your life. So what you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. I hope you guys have a good day. A reminder for our next episode in the next couple weeks will be with Satara St. John on work-life balance as an entrepreneur and a content creator. If you guys remember her from season 2, she is my vegan friend from Canada, and I'm super excited to have her back. Hope you have a good day, and I'll catch you next time.